This video ranks every viable TH12 attack strategy. So if you want to win more 3 stars, you need to know the best armies for any base and the worst armies to avoid them. And this tier list is based on strength, ease of use, and flexibility. Starting off with the F tier, these are the worst of the worst attacks. Of course, we have the Yeti Smash, the P.E.K.K.A. Smash, and the Super Goite, 3 of which are just either outclassed or just not worth using. But what is worth doing is subscribing to the channel and ringing the bell for more content like this. So now we'll move into the D tier. These are still okay armies, but they have a lot of inconsistencies. Mainly, the Dragbat is one of these. Unfortunately, Dragbat is still at the D tier spot, as Dragbat is not really as strong as other options. Typically, it is supposed to be strong against 2 to 3 multi-target Infernos. Other than that, it can't really do much. There's a lot of inconsistencies with it, and while it might be somewhat easy for new players, it's not really flexible. There are honestly better bat spell options that are just far more consistent, even though they work on very specific types of Inferno modes. But it's just better than using something that can pretty much be easily countered. Now we move up into the C tier. These are strategies that are good, but very specific to the base. Case in point, the Skelly Donut Lalo. Now this strategy is a very, very strong army. The reason it's in C tier is because it's very base specific, and of course, it's really hard for casual players. Even I can't do it consistently. So it is something that will take you a ton of time to master. You might already be past TH12 by that point. So it's a strategy that I really enjoy seeing, but it's definitely not something that a casual player can use consistently, which is why it's in C tier. Also within the C tier is, unfortunately, the Super Bowler Smash. Now, for Super Bowlers, they're in the C tier because they lack a lot of power. Unlike TH13, where you have that 4th hero, here, you don't get that opportunity. While you could use Hog Riders in the CC, it realistically doesn't replace it. You still need that 4th hero to really make a difference, which is why at 13 and above, they get a lot better. They have that 4th hero to allow them to do more. As for ease of use, a casual player can kind of jump into it. It's a typical Smash style attack, so if you don't have a high enough level Warden, this might not be great. But the only reason I put it in C tier as well is it only works against narrow bases here at TH12, since it has the issue of not having that Royal Champion. Moving into B tier, these are good strategies that don't have nearly as many restrictions. Case in point, the Zap Lalo. Now for the Zap Lavaloon, this is a pretty strong army. The Zap Lalo is really a good, solid spot if you really want to learn tougher Lavaloon armies. So for a casual player, this does have a nice entry in. It has a very high skill ceiling because there's still a lot that you can do, but it does have a nice bit of base flexibility, which makes it not as base specific as some of the other strategies in B tier, but can still be used quite often and quite well on different kinds of bases, depending on what you're seeing and how much value you can get from the heroes, the lightning, and the lava. Also within the B tier is the IC5. Now the IC5 is one of my personal favorite bat spell attack strategies. Remember when I said that the Dragbat just kind of sucks? Well, the IC5 is the opposite. This thing is really good. Typically, this is only good against single target Infernos on the base. So that means that if there's any multis or any more than at least one, you're a bit screwed. Otherwise, it's a strategy that has a lot of strength on the right base. It is very beginner friendly. It's basically spam. And its base flexibility really will depend if the base has single Infernos or multi-target Infernos. Other than that, it's a very good army, and that is why it lands in B tier. Alongside the 2 armies in B tier, we also have 2 others, Blizzard E-Drags and Blizzard Dragons. Now, both of these armies are very good. They're very strong. This is the reason why they're in B tier. They have a good amount of strength. The only issue that really sets them both apart is their base flexibility. both of them have different ones, as the E-Drags prefer compact bases while the Dragons tend to prefer more spread out designs, but also can still take advantage of those bases with compact defenses. However, the biggest thing is that the Blizzard allows them to get a lot of value like that, and it allows that ease of use to be incredibly good. So they have a decent amount of strength, they have a pretty ease of use for a casual player, and of course, they aren't really as base dependent as other strategies, but still require you to look for specific things. Next, we move into the A tier. These are strong armies, yet lack a couple things to make it an S tier army. Case in point, the Queen Charge Lalo. Now, the Queen Charge Lalo is incredibly strong. There's no ifs, ands, or buts against that. It is not base dependent. The only thing that holds it back, of course, is going to be how consistent you can do it as a casual player. Pretty much for me, I'm not great at Queen Charge Lalo at all. So as a casual player, it's not easy to get into. Otherwise, it's a strategy, while it is very strong, it's not as base dependent, is incredibly difficult to master. Also within the A tier is the Queen Charge Hybrid. Now, the Queen Charge Hybrid is a very good army all around. It has some pretty good strength, despite missing the Royal Champion from Town Hall 13. And for a Queen Charge attack, it has some pretty good ease of use. You can definitely get into this because you're not looking for stuff like a Queen Charge Lala. However, where it does lack a little bit is the bases that you can hit. You need to really hit in a very specific way, because if you hit the base in the wrong way, it will more than often lead to either a fail or a time fail. So you want to really consider those things. So it isn't really nearly as where you can force it on every base, but it is a strategy that you can still use on a wider variety of bases. But of course, what makes it an A tier strategy is just how good is it for a casual player and how strong is it? So it's definitely good in that regard, but not as good as using my creator code CORRUPT to support me in everything I do here on the channel. Finally, in the A tier is the Blizzard Lala. Now, this strategy has a very similar issue to the Hybrid, in which you can't really force this on every base. It's still very, very strong. It does lack some power, especially since you don't have access to the Apprentice Warden here, but it does still allow you to do at least a fair bit. What also this allows you to do is it is very easy for a newcomer to Lavaloon to use this. I would heavily recommend using this army if you're very much new to Lavaloon, because it can be used on a wide variety of bases, and it is a simple follow-up Lavaloon from the Blizzard to the Hero Dive to the Lavaloon. Now we move into the S tier strategies, and honestly, there should be no debate on what is the best here, one of which being the Zap Witches. It should be no surprise that Zap Witches is up this high. It is really easy to use. It has incredibly good strength. It can basically be used on almost every single base. And of course, it can be easy to use and master for a casual player. It's a spam army, which is why it is in the S tier. And of course, another strategy in the S tier is the Super Witch Smash. Town Hall 12 is completely dominated by witches. So if you're using Super Witch Smash, this typically means that the base isn't good for Zap Witches. So this means that Super Witches are really the next best thing. It's incredibly strong because it is the max level for like the next couple Town Hall levels, and Super Witches at Town Hall 12 are actually really broken. Since you also have access to the Flame Flinger, you can use this to get a ton of value. This is why Super Witch Smash is honestly one of the better attack strategies to use. They're honestly the best smash attack for Town Hall 12, better than all the ones in F tier and the Super Bowlers. And this is the reason to why it's an S tier army. It's super easy to get into for a casual player. It's really strong, and it can be forced on almost any base. So this is every viable attack strategy ranked. Now, I hope that this tier list helps you find the best strategy for you. If you want to follow up on more videos in this series, I'd recommend checking out this playlist right here, giving you all of them from Town Hall 12 to Town Hall 15, and I will see you there.